Crossing the world of Ultraman, not only became Beria's son, but also inherited a galactic empire. Although the Galactic Empire is already in ruins, with the help of the strongest Imperial system, the Galactic Empire will develop from scratch, return to its peak, and become even stronger. With a wave of his hand, millions of Dark Lopicello legions swarmed in. The exclusive Impreza Legion of the Amparella people can still be mass-produced. So, the reputation of the reborn Galactic Empire instantly swept across the entire multiverse. Belia. Is this really the Galactic Empire I commanded back then? My son, you did a great job. Jed. Is this my brother? The strongest emperor in command of the Galactic Empire. Sero. The new Galactic Empire is too outrageous. Every Dark Lops Sero is a prototype. Tartaros. Compared to the technology on our planet and the Galactic Empire, we all feel inferior. Keywords of the novel. Kingdom of Light. Inheriting the Galactic Empire at the beginning without a pop-up window, Kingdom of Light. Inheriting the Galactic Empire at the beginning. Download the complete TXT series, Kingdom of Light. Inheriting the Galactic Empire at the beginning. Latest chapters to read. Chapter 1. Begins with the Galactic Empire. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 begins with the Galactic Empire. Am I traveling? As soon as Carlos opened his eyes, he saw a dilapidated and huge castle in front of him. The surroundings of the castle were filled with a sense of darkness, and the deep pits left on the ground seemed to tell the story of a great war he had experienced here before. At this moment, an extremely familiar and unfamiliar memory gradually emerged in his mind. With the help of these memories, Carlos also gradually understood what kind of situation he was currently in. He actually crossed over. And he also crossed into Ultraman's universe and became an Ultraman warrior. It's just that the Ultraman he became is slightly different. Carlos is not an Ultraman belonging to the Kingdom of Light, but he has intricate relationships with the Kingdom of Light. Because at this moment, Carlos's identity is actually that of the most evil and strongest Dark Ultraman, the son of Beria. Belia was born in the Kingdom of Light and was a contemporary Otto warrior alongside Otto's father. During the Ottoman War, together with Ottoman's father, he was known as the unparalleled double pride of the Kingdom of Light. Their strength is almost equal, and compared to Otto's father, Beria's personality is more ruthless and decisive. Since Otto's father awakened the true power within himself, the power gap between the two of them has completely widened, which has become the trigger for the rupture of their friendship. It wasn't until Beria's plasma spark power was backfired and driven out of the land of light that the two of them completely parted ways. As a result, Belia was eroded by the soul of the ultimate life form in the universe, the LeBron Dorian, and completely became a Dark Ultraman, starting his life of conquering the universe. Originally, Beria only relied on a gigabit fighting device to control 100 monsters, forming a monster army. Since being defeated by Sero, I realized how important it is to have a powerful force, and that's when I began to become the Emperor of the Universe. After Beria became the Emperor of the Universe, the Galactic Empire he established was quite remarkable. Wave your hand casually, and you'll see a legion of millions of Dark Lops appear. The technology possessed in the Galactic Empire can even enable the entire legion to perform a cosmic leap. At its peak, the military can completely dominate the entire universe. Unfortunately, such a powerful legion was later shattered by a single person from Sero. That's right, just one person, casually chopping a knife will directly bury the entire Galactic Empire. Who gives the other person the strongest talent in the universe and the protagonist's aura? Gathering the light of the entire universe, summon Noah and equip him with powerful equipment, the Pelagi shield, and with a single sword, cut open the entire Galactic Empire. It has to be said that sometimes the protagonist's aura is really powerful. If Noah had not been summoned at that time, it is estimated that Beria could have completely invaded the Kingdom of Light and become an emperor at the level of the multiverse. Unfortunately, Carlos was a descendant created by Beria using her own genes while still serving as the Emperor of the Galactic Empire. From a timeline perspective, he can also be considered Jed's brother. However, Carlos has a higher level of completion and will not have genetic defects like Jeter. He needs to use Jeter's sublimators to rediscover his true figure, while also possessing more powerful power than Jeter. And Belia created Carlos. Naturally it is impossible to simply want a son, just to make a plan for himself in the future. If one day a strong enemy appears and is eliminated, then Belia can find the most suitable carrier to resurrect in the shortest possible time. The most suitable carrier is naturally Carlos. So, Carlos and Jed still have the same fate. Unfortunately, Belia died before successfully creating Carlos. The reason why Carlos was still able to be born was because the training machine was still running after the fall of the Galactic Empire. After Belia was eliminated, all the resources accumulated in the Galactic Empire were naturally shared by other cosmologists. Among these cosmic beings, there are both righteous and evil camps. Even many cosmic beings have regarded this place as a relic containing rich treasures. Sometimes when there are no resources available, troops will be sent here to explore and see if there are any unexpected gains. Thinking about it this way, the current Galactic Empire is really too miserable, becoming a place where everyone dares to come in. If it were in the past, other cosmologists would tremble with fear just hearing the words, Galactic Empire. How could they be so casual like now? The original Galactic Empire had become so dilapidated, but it's normal to think about it. The fundamental strength of the Galactic Empire lies in Beria. Without Belia, the Galactic Empire would be just a larger force. After organizing all his memories, Carlos had already developed a different emotion in his heart. That is to restore the dilapidated Galactic Empire to its original state. This is the Belia factor in Carlos's body stirring in his heart. It's really a bit difficult to restore the Galactic Empire to its original prosperous state. Carlos himself has some headaches. If there were still some dark Lops in the Galactic Empire, it would be fine. I could also use those armies to collect resources from other planets and expand my hair. But now Carlos really doesn't have any resources in his hands. The only thing that can be relied on is the powerful force inherited from Belia within oneself. But this is completely useless. There are actually quite a few advanced civilizations in this universe. If you attract too much attention, you will probably have to be set on fire by those advanced civilizations, and you don't know how tragic your death will be. Upon reflection, Carlos became even more headache-stricken. After all, while he was thinking about how to develop the Galactic Empire, there might be other cosmic beings flying in the direction of the Galactic Empire to search for some hidden resources. Since I have already traveled through time, at least I have to have my own golden finger, right? Carlos also began to check his body at this time. Unfortunately, during the Galactic Empire, Belia did not resurrect the Gigabyte fighter, otherwise Carlos would still have a weapon to use. Ding! At that moment, a warning sound suddenly rang out in Carlos's mind. Listening to this voice, Carlos immediately regained his energy. Can it be that my system is here? The next second, a cold mechanical sound rang out again in Carlos's head. The strongest Imperial system has been loaded. Host memory awakening, detecting surrounding environment, loading Empire template. Currently bound to Empire. Galactic Empire. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. The strongest Imperial system, the Dark Lops prototype. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. The strongest Imperial system, the Dark Lops prototype. Oh, I really have the golden finger. It's a legendary system. According to its name, the strongest Imperial system seems to be of great help in rebuilding the Galactic Empire. Carlos finally felt a lot of joy in his heart. Generally speaking, systems possess an invincible power, and with this system, Carlos would not find it too difficult to revitalize the entire Galactic Empire alone. What kind of ghost is the long string displayed behind the system, and why is it specifically bound to the Empire? Binding to the Galactic Empire is understandable, but can we still bind to other empires in the future? However, this is also something Carlos doesn't need to consider now. What's even more important now is to quickly understand the specific function of this system. At this moment, the system's prompt sounded again, causing Carlos to freeze in place. Environment loading completed. Detected that the host is currently located in the Galactic Empire and is a descendant of the Galactic Emperor Beria, inheriting as the king. In order to revitalize the Galactic Empire, the troops summoned from this system will have more than twice the strength of the main body. This effect is indeed a bit impressive. Carlos was filled with shock in his heart. When it comes to the types of troops in the Galactic Empire, they are naturally spaceships, Imperial robots, and the Dark Lops. Do you still remember that the first aircraft of Darkness Lops already had the power to compete with Zero? Even the later mass-produced models still have the power to overwhelm the elite members of the Kingdom of Light. With a large number, they can even suppress the Ort brothers, doubling the number based on this. That's really amazing. By the way, do I have any beginner gift packages or similar? The system answered coldly. Originally, this system did not have a beginner gift package, but the current situation of the host is too bad, so we are giving a free opportunity to summon troops. After listening to the system's explanation, Carlos finally breathed a sigh of relief, and now he still needs to take a good look at his detailed situation. The next second, the system panel unfolds in front of Carlos. Host. Carlos, Beria Offspring, Strength. Advanced Warrior, Bind Empire. Galactic Empire Ultimate Branch. Currently unavailable, Advanced Branches. Currently unavailable, Intermediate Branches. Currently unavailable, Ordinary Branches. Currently unavailable, Reputation Value. 0, currently has one free summoning opportunity. Through this system panel, Carlos can also have a better understanding of system functions. I roughly understand. If you want to summon various types of troops in the future, you must consume corresponding reputation points. For every 10 points spent, you can summon a regular unit. Every 100 points, one intermediate unit can be summoned. Every 1000 points, one advanced unit can be summoned. Every 100,000 points, one ultimate unit can be summoned. After each summoning, Carlos can also receive corresponding energy intensity. It's equivalent to summoning more troops, so the energy that feeds back into Carlos's body will also be stronger. As long as there are enough troops, Carlos's own strength can leap from high-level warriors to ultimate warriors. After all, as an Ultraman, one cannot rely solely on different types of troops, and one's own strength is also very important. And Carlos also plans to quickly use the system's functions at this time. After all, he doesn't know if there will be other invaders on their way. Just this free summoning of troops will be a bit mysterious. Any type of service is possible. So the next summoning really depends a bit on the face. However, Carlos believed that his luck should be good, so he immediately used this free summoning count. The black-purple teleportation array unfolded in front of Carlos. The next second, 3 brown-yellow figures walked out of the teleportation array and came to Carlos. Looking at these 3 figures, Carlos's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise, and they all emitted a powerful aura. Your Majesty! The Dark Lops squad is here to meet. That's right, what appears on Carlos's side are the 3 Dark Lops sailors, and they are not just ordinary Dark Lops sailors. But it's the prototype of the Dark Lops. Although Dark Lops is a mechanical giant created by imitating the abilities of Zero Ultraman, he cannot use Zero's dual shooting and plasma spark tower moves, but he has all other skills available. Their strength can compete with the regular form of Zero. Placed in the entire universe, they are all very powerful beings. When it comes to the Dark Lops, it can also be considered a bad taste of Beria. Because he was defeated by Zero at the beginning, he wanted to create robots in the shape of Sero and then smear his image in other universes. And these 3 robots are also absolutely obedient to Carlos. Even if Belia is here now, there is no way to command at all. At this moment, one of the Dark Lops Sero seemed to have discovered something and said, "Report to your majesty. It seems that some enemy is approaching here. It seems to be similar to what I thought." Carlos furrowed his brow slightly as he had anticipated that there might be another cosmologist searching for treasure in the universe. Since they have arrived, just in time, let the Dark Lop and Sero go and fight. Go ahead and eliminate the enemy. Carlos gave an order, and the 3 Dark Lopsicellos immediately set off, flying towards those who were approaching the Galactic Empire. The first mission must not be enough to disappoint your majesty. A cold voice rang out from Darkness's mouth. However, to be honest, it possesses a power comparable to that of the normal Sero, at least in the vast majority of forces in this universe. As soon as we encounter them, we basically end up with a complete defeat. Unless it is some powerful force dispatching super firepower. After summoning them, Carlos could indeed feel a noticeable fluctuation of energy in his body, which was a manifestation of his strength improvement. And outside the Galactic Empire, a Naker Starman looked at the fleet he brought with him, his heart filled with excitement. Originally, they were part of the entire universe as a powerful fighting race, and other cosmic races dared not provoke them. But who made them too arrogant and caught the attention of the Kingdom of Light? In front of the powerful legion of the Kingdom of Light, the Nakles were almost unstoppable and were directly disabled. They then shifted their attention to the Galactic Empire in another universe. Every time, you can find a small amount of Amararu 1 or from the ruins of the Empire, and then enhance your own power, making a comeback. This time is no exception. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Terra Prototype, possessing the real ability to eliminate an entire warship. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Terrifying Prototype, possessing the power to eliminate an entire warship. It is precisely because of the mining of the Amalaru ore from the ruins of the Galactic Empire that the power of the Starlings has truly grown rapidly from scratch. At the same time, some wreckage of spacecraft can be found from the ruins, and their repaired spacecraft can be transformed into their own exclusive spacecraft. These spaceships were powerful weapons created by Belia, who had gathered the entire Galactic Empire, and their technological level was unmatched by other astronauts. So after obtaining these spaceships, the Nakles were naturally able to enhance their combat power significantly. This also makes the Nakles even more envious of the treasures left behind in the ruins of the Galactic Empire. Every time they come to search for treasures, they can be said to have hidden their whereabouts to death, afraid of being discovered by other forces in the universe, and then come to compete with them for treasures. Such a rich treasure cannot be directly given away. In addition to the remaining Amalaru ore, what the Starlings of Naker have been longing for is also the desire to find the body of the Dark Lopsicero. If they can transform it into their own exclusive robot army, they will directly seek revenge against those ultra-warriors of the Kingdom of Light. He has been displeased with the group of Ultraman warriors in the Land of Light for a long time. When I find the body of Darkness's Lopsero, even if it's just a part, we, the Nakles, will be able to become the strongest race in the universe. Thinking of the beautiful scene of future domination of the universe, the Nakelites have even burst into laughter. At this moment, one of the Nakles under his command was surprised and spoke out. Report to Lord Lottes. Our fleet has been obstructed, and it seems that the other party is. What seems to be it? Lottes suddenly had an ominous premonition in his heart. The other party seems to be the Dark Lopsero. The quantity is 3. Upon hearing this, Lottes instantly widened his eyes. According to the previous battle, wasn't Sero already wiped out the entire Galactic Empire? In theory, there should not be any Dark Lopsero left behind. Is it difficult? These are the few machines that survived back then, and they have just been activated recently. The power of Darkness Lopsero is indeed powerful, but he has an entire fleet on his side. If they start fighting, it shouldn't be a problem to suppress them. After a moment of contemplation, Lottes ordered, "Let's solve these 3 Dark Lopsicellos. Pay attention, control them a bit, don't completely smash them, we still need to use their bodies to transform and create a robot army. By the way, cutting over the battle scene, I actually want to see how powerful the legendary Dark Lops is." A Naker immediately nodded and said, "Understood." Immediately, a virtual screen appeared in front of Lottes. On the screen, there are 3 figures of the Dark Lops, all emitting an extremely powerful aura of annihilation. Even after a glance, Lottes felt his hair stand up. Relying solely on these 3 robots is enough to demonstrate how powerful the Galactic Empire was in the past. They have thousands of these robots. But soon, Lottes' eyes were filled with enthusiasm. That's right, it's only with such strength that we have the meaning to occupy them. Just before they could start their attack, the 3 Dark Lops had already launched the attack first. They raised their hands simultaneously, and black energy particles converged in their arms. When combined into an L shape, 3 black beams of light burst out instantly. This is also their ultimate skill, the Dark Beam of Light. Just 3 rays of light, surprisingly, in the blink of an eye, they directly penetrated a large number of space fleets. Under this wave, dozens of warships have become garbage in the universe. It's too strong. Lottes was filled with shock upon seeing this scene. He had thought that Dark Lops would have strong combat power, but he didn't expect it to be so powerful. The agreed-upon robots are just mass production machines. This is indeed completely beyond his budget. Just before Lottes could even think about it, the 3 Dark Lops had already started attacking again. This time, the firepower was still incredibly powerful, and in the blink of an eye, another large space fleet fell completely. They haven't even started to take action yet, there are already signs of complete annihilation. Hurry up! Hurry up and fire! After hearing the voice of Lottes, many bewildered Knuckles finally began to wake up and immediately launched a fierce attack on the 3 Dark Lopsicellos using various weapons on the spaceship. Boom boom boom. A large number of energy shells and physical shells erupted. In the face of these attacks, the 3 Dark Lords remained calm and composed. After glancing at each other, they dispersed and launched fierce attacks in 3 directions. No matter how dense the firepower is, their speed is so fast that no attack can even scratch their bodies. Shoo! Ice axes flew out of their heads and launched a fierce attack on the surrounding space fleet. Even 2 small ice axes still produce astonishing power. In front of the ice axe, the originally hard space fleet was as fragile as paper, cutting in half in the blink of an eye and then exploding rapidly. Looking at the scene in front of him, Lottes was completely numb. Is this the true strength of Darkness's Lops? Just 3 units have already destroyed more than half of his space fleet. So what was the ferocity of the thousands of Dark Lopses that the Galactic Empire once possessed? No wonder Belia was able to become the emperor of the universe in this space, there is no reason for it. Carlos also witnessed this battle. Watching the constantly exploding space fleet, he also shook his head repeatedly. Carlos has already looked at the specific data of these Dark Lopsicellos, which are 3 advanced units. 3 advanced units already possess such formidable strength, so what if the ultimate unit is summoned later on? The restoration of the former prosperity of the Galactic Empire is likely to be a definite thing. Damn it, damn it. Watching more and more space fleets collapse, Lottes' heart can be said to be extremely panicked. It's probably too late for him to escape now. Because those 3 Dark Lopsicellos are flying towards the main ship where Lottes is located. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Is it difficult for Belia not to die? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Is it difficult for Belia not to die? Faced with these 3 Dark Lopses, Lottes can be said to be extremely scared. With the combat power of their 3 robots, they can still directly shoot down the main ship they are piloting in an instant. Even if the chance of escaping is not high, at least give it a try. So Lops quickly mobilized the remaining space warships and controlled them to launch a suicidal attack on the 3 Dark Lops. Since neither light nor physical missiles can hit it, it's better to hit it directly with a huge spaceship. With their physical strength, they may not be able to withstand this terrifying force. When the spaceship exploded one after another, Lops took the opportunity to escape. As long as he can escape, he can also collaborate with other cosmic beings to compete for the treasures left behind in the Galactic Empire. Even if the opponent is powerful, there are only 3 robots, enough in number to completely crush them. Boom boom boom. A large number of space warships did indeed experience an extremely terrifying explosion after touching the body of Darkness Lopicello. Even the most powerful monster, if it is engulfed by explosive flames, it will definitely die. However, Lops still underestimated the physical strength of these 3 Dark Lops Zero prototypes. Faced with the flames of these explosions, they did not even deploy their own protective shields to block them, allowing their bodies to block everything. Even so, they still haven't been stained with any dust on their bodies. In a moment, all the remaining space warships had already exploded. And Lops did indeed use this opportunity to finally escape the universe, at the cost of all the strength he had accumulated. At this moment, it is no different from the Black Dog. To pay such a heavy price, Lops had never imagined it before. The humiliation he suffered this time will surely be remembered in his own heart. After summoning enough people, I will come back to this universe to seek revenge. You did a great job. Carlos looked at the 3 Dark Lopicellos in front of him and could be said to be extremely satisfied. In the coming time, you also need to be vigilant. After the Knuckles escape, they will definitely try their best to launch a counterattack. This time he has already witnessed the power of the system. Just summoning 3 advanced units directly destroyed the opponent's entire army. If more advanced or ultimate units were summoned, that would be enough. Carlos is increasingly looking forward to gaining more reputation and summoning more troops. At the same time, he also hoped that Lops could spread the news of the Galactic Empire and attract more and more attention from various forces. Only in this way can Carlos gain more reputation points. At the same time, in a crystal-shaped building near the Kingdom of Light, a body covered in crimson is engaged in battle with a ferocious robot monster. This monster's strength is not weak, and its physical strength is much stronger than ordinary monsters. Even within the entire machine organism, there is still an upper-level presence, and this monster is the Mechanical Gamera. Mechanical Gamera let out a roar, and a large number of missiles erupted from behind, rushing towards the crimson body in unison. And this crimson body, facing these attacks, was not very panicked. With a flick of his hands, a long stick condensed from flames had already appeared in his hand, and he quickly rotated the stick in his hand. The long stick blocked all attacks, triggering a rapid explosion. The next second, the explosion flame suddenly contracted, and the red figure reappeared, and the temperature released by his long stick in his hand also became even more fierce. This move is completely over, stinky mechanical monster. He let out a roar and placed his long stick horizontally in front of him, charging towards the opponent in an instant. In an instant, the long stick had already penetrated the body of the Mechanical Gamera. A thin red line appeared on Gamera's waist, and in the next second, his body split in half, completely exploding. The red figure withdrew his long stick and touched his head, instantly igniting flames in his head. And the only thing that can ignite on the head with just one wipe is the red lotus flame. After defeating Belia with Cyrus, he followed the Mirror Knight, Iron Knight, and Cyrus to form the ultimate Cyrus Guard. This is also the first task he has performed since joining the team. There are really many monsters in the universe where Zyacero is located. You can easily encounter powerful monsters. It seems that executing tasks in the future won't be as easy as you imagine, but it will be more interesting. Red Lotus Flame looked at the stars in the universe with her hands on her hips and couldn't help but sigh. I don't know how the boss and his team are doing either. The boss in his mouth is naturally the Red Lotus Pirates. At this moment, a red and white robot flew from a distance and landed in front of the Red Lotus Flame. Red Lotus Flame looked at this figure, and an incredible flash flashed in its eyes. Stinky roasted chicken, why did you come? I'm not called Stinky Roast Chicken, I'm called Iron Warrior. The Iron Warrior glanced at the Red Lotus Flame, then his face was filled with helplessness. There's no way, only Iron Warriors in the entire team like to call themselves that. No matter how many times they say it, the other party will not change. But the Iron Knight has also become accustomed to it. Forget it, let's not dwell on this with you for now. According to Her Majesty the Princess and her team's report, it seems that something has happened on the side of the Galactic Empire. The Galactic Empire. Upon hearing these 4 words, the Red Lotus Flame couldn't help but freeze in place. There's no way, the shadow that the Galactic Empire cast on everyone in that universe back then was too deep. In their universe, Belia is not much different from ruling the entire universe. If they hadn't woken up a miracle in the beginning, they would probably have been completely wiped out. What happened on the Galactic Empire side? Can it be that Belia guy didn't die? The Iron Warrior immediately shook his head and said, it's not that guy from Belia. But it was the princess and her companions who discovered the figures of 3 Dark Lopeceros near the Galactic Empire, and there were also a large number of spaceship wrecks around, indicating that a major battle had just occurred near the Galactic Empire. The princess in the mouth of the Iron Warrior naturally refers to Princess Emanara. After Belia was eliminated, they did not relax their surveillance of the Galactic Empire. Only then can we observe this strange situation at the first time. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Various actions and speculations about the Galactic Empire. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Various actions and speculations about the Galactic Empire. Darkness, I thought everything had already been destroyed in that battle. Are you sure there are only 3 traces of the Dark Lops? Red Lotus Flame continued to ask. At least based on current observations, we have only seen the traces of 3 Dark Lopeceros. As for whether there will be any other individuals, we don't know. The news from another universe made the 2 of them sigh repeatedly. The reappearance of Darkness's Lopicello made them all start to doubt whether this was a precursor to Belia's recovery. If that guy really recovers, then it's really troublesome. After all, no one can guarantee whether there will be a miracle next time. Sero was able to eliminate Belia even when he gathered the light of the entire universe. If Beria really comes back to life, it must be gathering stronger forces and then coming back to seek revenge against Sero and the others. How about it? Do you want to go back and take a look? The Iron Warrior spoke up and asked. Let's go back and take a look. We must not let any clues slip by. If Beria really wants to resurrect, then we must completely stifle all opportunities. When the Red Lotus Flame spoke, it had already clenched its fist. After all, the peace of their universe was not easy to come by. Immediately, the Red Lotus Flame and Iron Warrior flew towards the base of the ultimate Sero Guard. If they want to travel through time and space, they must rely on the Pelagi shield possessed by Sero. The main thing is to bring Sero along with them, and they can also have enough confidence in their hearts. Within the galaxy ruled by the Federation of Cosmos, Jayton, Naker, Pedon, and other cosmopolitans gather here. The cosmologists gathered here are basically evil cosmologists who hold a grudge against the Kingdom of Light. The reason why they gather here is to gather stronger forces. Once they gather enough strength, they will launch an attack on the Kingdom of Light to avenge their hatred in their hearts. After the spaceship made an emergency landing, Lottes, who was all disheveled, stumbled and ran to a Naker. This Naker is the leader of the entire Naker planet, Parker. Parker looked at Lottes with a look of mockery in his eyes. Yo, isn't this Lottes, who used to thrive, how could he become so embarrassed? Lottes was originally just an unknown figure on their planet of Nacre. One day, he suddenly obtained a large amount of rare minerals and high firepower spaceships, and he transformed into the dominant force commanding the side on the planet. Their status even approached Parker directly. Parker had also asked for information about these rare minerals and planned to get a share of the pie. But who knew that Lottes not only didn't say it, but also mocked Parker, saying that in the future, the position of the leader of the planet Nacre would be entrusted to him. This also made Parker hold a grudge against Lottes. Seeing Lottes become so embarrassed today, Parker couldn't help feeling so happy in his heart. Lottes also knew that he had completely offended and killed Lottes. But now it's not the time to dwell on this point. If he doesn't solve those 3 Dark Lops zeros, it's basically impossible for him to obtain the Amilaru ore in the future. So Lottes changed his routine and now he is smiling obsequiously. Captain Parker, it used to be my little brother's mistake. I hope you can let go of any past grievances. In order to show my sincerity, I will provide you with the origin of my precious resources. Upon hearing Lottes' words, Parker's gaze changed slightly, but soon returned to normal. This was something he had always wanted before, but he didn't expect Lottes to finally be willing to hand it over. However, Lottes usually doesn't say anything, but today he is so proactive, combined with his embarrassed appearance, it is obvious that there is fraud. Parker pretended to be calm and said, "Then you can tell me. Report to Captain Parker at my spaceships and Imperial ores were actually found in the ruins of the Galactic Empire established by the former Cosmic Emperor Beria. Although the Galactic Empire has been destroyed, the treasures they have left behind are still astonishing. I just picked up a little and it developed to its current state. Belia." Upon hearing these 3 words, Parker's heart immediately began to churn. He had never heard of this guy before. Even in the main universe of the Kingdom of Light. These cosmic beings all know that in the cosmic prison of the Kingdom of Light, there is sealed the strongest and most evil Dark Ultraman named Beria. Beria even relied on her own exclusive weapons, and one person directly destroyed the entire Kingdom of Light. This great achievement can be said to have made all the Dark Universe people regard it as their savior. They had originally planned to seek refuge with Belia after she dominated the universe. Unfortunately, a sailor was killed halfway through, and the talented sailor gained recognition from the plasma spark, eliminating Beria. Their idea of joining Belia can only be abandoned. Only occasionally do we hear Beria successfully proclaiming himself emperor in another universe among other cosmic beings. If he really obtained some treasures from the Galactic Empire, then Parker's ability to become so powerful can also be explained. Why were you beaten so badly? Parker asked again, clarifying the importance of this so that necessary measures could be taken. Lottes was asked this question and thought for a moment. To be honest, it's definitely not possible. We need some packaging. During the process of obtaining the treasure, I accidentally activated 3 Dark Lops zeros. These 3 Dark Lops sailors possess immense strength and instantly destroyed my fleet. If I hadn't run away decisively, I probably wouldn't have come back. Just the power of 3 Dark Lops zeros has propelled an entire space fleet, indicating that their power is quite remarkable. If not treated with caution, it is likely to have the same outcome as Lottes. Notify me to immediately fly my fleet towards the ruins of the Galactic Empire. By the way, go find the Jeton and Pedon people, combine their fleet, bring a large number of monster weapons, and strive to completely occupy the entire Galactic Empire in one go. Immediately, everyone began to take action. And their actions were too grandiose, naturally attracting the attention of other forces in the universe, who began to pay more careful attention to their actions. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Summoning the Unmatched Iron God. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Summoning the Unmatched Iron God. Just as Parker and his team had already begun their journey towards the Galactic Empire, Carlos discovered something remarkable on his side. That's on the system panel he owns, and the reputation value is skyrocketing at a crazy speed. In just a few minutes, it directly rose from 0 to 5,000 points, and then the speed of increase gradually slowed down. However, upon careful consideration, Carlos also understood that Lottes, who had previously escaped, had taken a walk with the news of the Galactic Empire, making more people aware of the existence of this one. This led to a crazy increase in reputation, and the subsequent slowdown was due to the fact that the reputation of the Galactic Empire did not spread too far. It seems that I need to find a way to make the Galactic Empire enter the eyes of more people. Carlos pondered. Otherwise, if the reputation value is too low, there are still some things that are not easy to handle. Although the current 3 Dark Lords are all advanced units with strong capabilities, it is still very difficult to face those powerful legions. Carlos still understood in his heart that Lottes' army was destroyed because his army was too weak. Most of them were ordinary troops, and if they persevered, they would only be intermediate troops. If Lottes had brought a few more advanced troops at that time, it would probably have been another ending. It seems that we still need to summon more advanced troops now. So Carlos decisively used these 5,000 reputation points to summon advanced troops. The teleportation array unfolded in front of Carlos, and 5 spherical robots emerged from it, shining a cold light all over their bodies. Looking at these 5 robots, Carlos's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. He couldn't help but think that the impression these robots gave people was too deep. Unparalleled Iron God Impreza. This is the robot belonging to the army that was taken over by the Dark Universe Emperor Ampere. As soldiers, scouts, and vanguards of the Emperor's army, it usually exists in the plural. Generally speaking, the power of mass-produced machines is somewhat weakened, but Impreza is completely different, as it still possesses terrifying power even in mass production. They are made entirely of incredibly tough metal, and it remains unknown from where the Amperians obtained these powerful metals. What I only know is that the Impreza, made of this metal, does not leave much damage on its body even when it is directly hit by the light of the Ultraman, and it also has strong self-healing ability. Even shattered pieces can be restored, and after repairing their arms, they can transform into powerful monsters. At that time, after eating Tyro's Autobomb, he still returned to his original state, which really scared Tyro. Impreza's entire body is also a weapon, equipped with 2 cannons on the shoulders and a triple Gatling gun on the head, capable of firing energy bullets at high speeds and with full power. In addition, it also possesses the ability for interstellar navigation and space teleportation. That is to say, there is no problem treating it as a small warship in space warfare. Compared to the Dark Lops Zero, Impreza's strategic significance is even stronger. Undoubtedly worthy of the title of Unparalleled Iron God. That's just such a powerful robot, 5 of which were summoned out by Carlos in one breath at this moment. This is much more powerful than summoning a bunch of ordinary and intermediate troops. The current Galactic Empire is different from the Galactic Empire ruled by Beria before. It only requires elites among the elites and does not require too many weak soldiers to support the scene. No matter how many troops there are, it's not like being hit one by Zero. It's better to have a few powerful troops. 5 Imprezas and 3 Dark Lopeceros, this is all the troops of the Galactic Empire ruled by Carlos now. Just these 8 robots have no problem penetrating most of the universe they are in. 5 Impreza are now obediently standing in front of Carlos, waiting for orders from the other party. As long as Carlos doesn't give orders, they won't take action on their own. Carlos was naturally quite satisfied with this reaction. You patrol around this Galactic Empire with other Dark Lords, and once you discover an intruder, eliminate it directly. After receiving the order, the 5 Impreza began to take action, flying in all directions towards the Galactic Empire. Carlos turned around and looked at the dilapidated castle behind him, unable to help but sigh. It seems that intermediate and regular branches are still quite important. Don't expect them to provide such powerful combat capabilities, at least they can provide the most basic productivity for the Galactic Empire, collect resources from various places in the universe, and then start rebuilding the Galactic Empire. This can also increase the strength of the Galactic Empire. It seems that after the reputation value increases in the future, we still need to use it more evenly to summon some ordinary troops. On the outskirts of the Galactic Empire. At this moment, 4 figures appear here. And these 4 figures are all members of the ultimate Zero Guard. Zero, Mirror Knight, Red Lotus Flame, Iron Warrior. Looking at this dilapidated place, Zero's heart was also filled with emotion. It was in this place that he fought a big war with Belia. After this great war, Zero believed that Belia must have died to the death. This place can only be a relic in the universe. I thought there shouldn't be much going on in this place. As a result, Amenera told them that she had found the trail of the Dark Lopesero near the Galactic Empire, which made them all start to feel nervous. After all, the Dark Lopesero was created by Beria. If this type of robot still exists, it is inevitable that they will start to doubt whether Belia is still alive. If even Beria can survive under that attack, it must be said that Beria's vitality is indeed tenacious. Have we really found any traces of the Dark Lopesero here? The Mirror Knight held his hands and had an elegant posture. Looking around, he did not find any figure. Since it's intelligence from Her Majesty the Princess, then there must be no mistake. Maybe those 3 Dark Lopeseros are on the back of the Galactic Empire, that's why we can't detect them. The Iron Warrior spoke firmly. If you want to see if the Dark Lopesero really exists, why don't you just break in? The Red Lotus Flame stirred its own flame hair and planned to charge into the Galactic Empire. But just as he was about to fly out, he was grabbed by Zero. Because Zero saw several familiar figures. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Is it difficult to say that the Dark Emperor has been resurrected? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Is it difficult to say that the Dark Emperor has been resurrected? How could these figures appear here? Zero looked at the robots that looked like balls, his eyes filled with surprise. Although he has never fought against these robots, Zero has seen them in the database of the Kingdom of Light, and has also heard of Mengbius and Instructor Tyro mentioning them. The unparalleled Iron God Impreza possesses terrifying power and powerful self-healing ability. It is a presence that makes the Otto brothers feel extremely tricky. But these robots are owned by the Ampere Star Legion, according to the original words of Mengbius and his team. After they defeated the Amperians, Impreza never appeared again and was probably completely eliminated in that battle. Why did it cross the universe and appear here? Still near the Galactic Empire. Is it possible that the appearance of darkness, Lopesero, and Impreza is related to the Ampere people? Mengbius has also mentioned to Zero that the Dark Four Kings wanted to use the power of the gigabit fighting instrument to revive the souls of the Amperians. This also means that as long as one can have the props to resurrect the soul, the Amperians can be resurrected again. After all, in the beginning, Mengbius and his companions only eliminated the physical body of the Amperians, while the Emperor's resentment still lingered in the universe. If it were really the Ampere people, it would be much more troublesome than Beria. After all, that Dark Emperor was able to block the existence of stars with his psychic power. Zero really has some difficulties to play against him. Are these robots difficult or dangerous? The Mirror Knight saw that Zero's face looked a bit ugly and couldn't help but wonder. It's not the danger of robots, but the danger behind them. It's better not to take action easily. After experiencing a lot of battles, at this moment, Zero is no longer as arrogant as before, but is approaching his father Severin and gradually becoming calm. After all, Zero is a captain now. The existence that even little sailor would worry about is quite interesting. The Red Lotus Flame didn't feel dangerous, but instead some began to get excited. It's better to listen to Zero and be a little more calm. As a steel warrior who is a robot, he naturally becomes more rational. And just as they finished speaking, dense figures gradually emerged in the distant universe. It seems like a fleet is approaching this place. The Iron Knight immediately activated the radar installed on his body, began scanning the fleets, and immediately discovered something wrong. Those fleets are not the forces of this universe, but from the universe of the Kingdom of Light. The Iron Knight's eyes lit up and a virtual screen unfolded in front of them, displaying the appearance of those fleets. Seeing the symbols on these spaceships, the faces of others immediately began to darken. These are symbols of the Cosmic Alliance, a powerful force that the Cosmic Guard has been fighting against for hundreds of years without getting rid of them. There is no way, the Cosmos Alliance has too many strongholds in the universe. Even if their army is dispersed, they will quickly regroup and make a comeback. And until now, the Space Guard has not figured out who the true rulers of the Cosmic Alliance are. If this ruler is not defeated, the Cosmic Alliance will never be completely eradicated. I didn't expect to meet the Cosmos Alliance in this universe. Is it possible that their base is the Galactic Empire? Red Lotus flames touched her chin, her eyes filled with confusion. It doesn't look like it is. These space warships are all in a state of defense, clearly indicating an impending attack, which looks more like an attack on the Galactic Empire. Could it be that a mysterious force has emerged in the ruins of the Galactic Empire, or that some treasure has appeared that has sparked their desire to compete? The Mirror Knight is analyzing based on all current conditions. However, from the current conditions, it is indeed only the possibility mentioned by the Mirror Knight. Let's find a place to observe and see what they really want to do. Sero took the others to a small meteorite to hide and observe the upcoming battle. On a spaceship. Parker looked at the ruins of the Galactic Empire displayed on the screen, his eyes filled with enthusiasm. The Amalaru ore that Lottes had previously obtained is about to be obtained by himself. As long as he has collected enough ore, he can join his several allies and directly break away from the Cosmic Alliance to establish a new powerful force. Although under the protection of the Cosmic Alliance, they are not afraid of the threat posed by the Kingdom of Light. But in order to maintain asylum, they also have to pay high protection fees to the Alliance. If he didn't hand over those resources, he would have established his own family long ago, so establishing a new force can be said to be his lifelong wish. Today he will use the resources left by the Galactic Empire to achieve it. And as they continued to approach, it naturally caught the attention of Impreza and Darkness Lapicello. Shoo, shoo. 8 red lights flashed through the space and arrived at the side of the spaceship. Report to Lord Parker, we have discovered the figures of 8 robots. A Naker reported. 8 robots. Parker looked at Lottes with a skeptical expression on his face and said, didn't you mention in your previous report that there were only 3 Dark Loop sailors? Lottes couldn't help but feel a bit confused when asked such a question. Yeah, the last time I came here, there were only 3 Dark Lobster Cyros. Could it be that they have revived the other Dark Lobster Cyros? Although Lottes didn't tell Parker everything, at least what he said was true, only reviving 3 Dark Lops Cyrus. After all, if you lie about the enemy's situation, you have to get yourself involved, there is no need for this. Report to Lord Lottes. The robot next to Darkness Lops Sero is not of the same type, but what? Lottes began to feel an ominous premonition in his heart. That's the unparalleled Iron God Impreza. 5 units. 5 units Impreza. The emotions of the Naker people who were giving the report immediately began to get excited. Upon hearing these words, Lottes and Parker both began to take a deep breath. Impreza, this is not the Legion of the Dark Emperor. Can it be that the Emperor has been resurrected? End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Dimensional Storm, quickly kill the whole field. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Dimensional Storm, quickly kill the whole field. The Dark Emperor, the Ampere Knights, and the Mirror Knights were unaware, while Sero was very clear about this guy's situation. After all, he is also a ruthless person who can break into the Kingdom of Light alone. If it were really the resurrection of the Ampere people, then it would be really difficult. However, it is necessary to observe whether this is the case or not. On a spaceship. Parker also remained silent as he watched these Impreza. According to the universe, that emperor should have passed away in battle on Earth. The legion under his command also disbanded accordingly. It's not that there are cosmic beings who want to enhance their own strength by finding those dormant Impreza. But no matter how they searched, they couldn't find a shadow of the Impreza. Everyone assumed that Impreza had already disappeared with the Emperor. Unexpectedly, his figure could be seen near the Galactic Empire. It is hard not to believe that after the revival of the Amperians, they not only resurrected Impreza, but also activated the remaining Dark Lopesero. For Lottes, Parker naturally believed it. Before coming to this universe, he had to prepare enough troops. If he lied about the situation, he would also lose his own life. Lottes values his life so much that he wouldn't do such a foolish thing. Lord Parker, are we going to launch an attack on those robots? The Nacl people inquired. At this point, Parker also began to make a mistake. If they took the initiative to launch an attack, it would be like provoking the Dark Emperor. But if we don't launch an attack, we won't be able to understand the real situation. Of course, the other robots wouldn't be as conflicted as Parker. Carlos must have given them an order to kill anyone who invades the Galactic Empire. Impreza and Darkness Lopicello launched attacks simultaneously, and a large amount of energy beams burst out from their bodies. Boom boom boom. Just in the blink of an eye, these energy beams have already penetrated a large number of space warships. Those spaceships also exploded along with it, turning into flames and dissipating in space. Report to Lord Parker. In the wave of attack just now, hundreds of our space warships were destroyed. Listening to the news from his subordinates, Parker couldn't help but take a deep breath. In just an instant, such a huge loss has already been caused. Since the other party takes the initiative to attack, they cannot be beaten for nothing. Attack those robots. I want to see if the Dark Emperor has truly been resurrected. After obtaining Parker's permission, the space battleships moved out all their weapons and launched fierce artillery attacks. Both sides immediately engaged in battle, and suddenly, there was constant artillery fire in space. Those robots are probably too fierce, they destroyed hundreds of space warships in an instant. Red Lotus Flames watched from the side, expressing extreme surprise. Leaving aside those Impreza, the Dark Lopicello they had dealt with did not have such fierce combat power. It seems that these are already strengthened models. Watching the Dark Lopsero engage in battle in space, Cero couldn't help but think of the prototype he had dealt with earlier, which was indeed extremely tricky. More and more space warships are turning into ruins under the attack of Impreza and others. Just a few spaceships are different. After those spaceships were destroyed, a large number of black figures flew out of the flames of the explosion. Cero and others took a closer look and found that those black figures were actually the cosmic dinosaur Jeton. It seems that these cosmic beings have really made a fortune. What is there in the ruins of the Galactic Empire that attracts them? The Iron Warrior saw the scene before him and was amazed. Perhaps it's for the remaining Amilaru or in the ruins of the Galactic Empire, which can also be considered a unique treasure of our universe. Red Lotus Flame Analysis. It seems like that's it. Cero nodded slightly. The Amilaru ore has extremely strong life energy, making it the best material for making robot weapons or transforming monsters. Even if placed in other universes, it can still cause a large number of forces to compete for it. After Jeton took action, Parker and his team's firepower instantly intensified. Accompanied by Jeton's attack were the weapons of the Pedon people, the Golden Bridge. Every Gene-Gu bridge can be used as a spacecraft. The combat effectiveness is also significantly higher than that of ordinary space warships. After Jeton and Kingdakio took action, they seem to have suppressed Impreza and Darkness Lopicello. These robots are just like that. In front of our weapons, they are not worth mentioning. Seeing those Impreza shattered by the light from the Golden Bridge, Parker's face was filled with a smile. At this moment, he only smiled a few times, and the smile on his face instantly froze. Those Impreza automatically merged into their original form in the blink of an eye, and then erupted into even more intense attacks. Perhaps in terms of metal hardness, Jingu Bridge can really touch up with Impreza. It's hard to resist that Impreza has healing ability. Even if he is beaten to some extent, Impreza will still heal on his own. Just trade injuries for injuries, one Impreza can eliminate several golden bridges. Not to mention that they are still facing 5 units at this moment. The 3 Dark Lops Sero are responsible for dealing with those Jetons. In their database, it is recorded that Jeton possesses the power of absorbing light skills, so they have basically never used light skills during battles. Instead, it releases the dimensional core installed on one's own body. They can absorb ordinary light, but the special energy cannon released by the dimensional core can create a dimensional storm in the surrounding space. That is to directly open the entrance to the other dimensional space and suck in all the Jetons and surrounding spaceships. These cosmic battleships and Jetons do not possess the ability to cross dimensions. So after being sucked into a different dimensional space, there is basically no difference from death. Unfortunately, this move, Dimensional Storm Dark Lops Sero, can only be used once in a battle, otherwise, relying solely on 3 Dark Lops Seros, the space fleet that came this time could be completely cleaned up. Seeing more and more space warships and Jetons being sucked into a different dimensional space, Parker was sweating profusely from top to bottom. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. With just one glance, you can make people kneel down. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. With just one glance, you can make people kneel down. How are we going to fight this? Parker's heart tightened as they had never imagined this type of attack that would involve the enemy in a different dimensional space. This also means that the space battleships and Jetons that were close to the dimensional storm did not even unleash their rightful firepower and were directly destroyed. And they will live a life that is even more miserable than death in a different dimensional space. More importantly, they have not even exerted their rightful power and then died tragically. After releasing a dimensional storm at the same time, the 3 Dark Lopses are now in an overloaded state. The prototype that Sero dealt with before was powered by the Samelo people at any time, so after releasing the dimensional storm, it could still remain as if nothing had happened. And now the Galactic Empire is completely unable to achieve this, there is no way, and there are still many infrastructure that have not been built. In an overloaded state, the Dark Lopicello needs to cool down for a period of time before it can start moving again. The next battle will rely on the remaining 5 Impreza. Fortunately, the successive dimensional storms have already eliminated the vast majority of space warships. The following troops no longer pose any threat to Impreza. Just 8 robots can destroy such a huge fleet. What kind of existence has appeared in the ruins of the Galactic Empire? The Mirror Knight's gaze was filled with sorrow. They still stayed on this meteorite, quietly observing the battle situation. At least based on the current situation, one thing can be certain, which is the revival of a terrorist presence no less than Belia. Sero is also thinking about how to deal with it next. Damn it. Seeing that there was only so little left of the space fleet he had brought, Parker clenched his fists, his eyes filled with anger. It seems that I underestimated this force too much. If I could bring more troops, I might even see the possibility of victory. Do you want to apply for support from other members of the Cosmic Alliance? The last time I was able to run away, it was because there were only 3 Dark Lopeceros, and now there are 5 more Impreza. Whether I can run away is another matter. Lottes is ready to die. 2 consecutive attacks were carried out, and this time even brought more powerful helpers, but the result was still obediently cleaned up by the other party. Even if they run away again this time and bring in stronger helpers for support, it is estimated that they will still find the opposite side stronger again, just like now. Since we can't escape, all we have to do is surrender. Parker let out a long sigh, his eyes filled with despair. What's the use of anger, and it's impossible to seek revenge against the other person. Moreover, everyone is a dark force and theoretically shares common interests. Moreover, judging from the power displayed by the Galactic Empire now, it is certain that there will be even more terrifying beings conducting commands in the future. Rather than staying in the alliance of Cosmos, it is better to serve the mysterious existence of the Galactic Empire. Maybe we can do better than we do now. So Parker decisively grabbed the position of his henchman, and after tapping a few times on the control panel, the spaceship he was on immediately fired a missile. The missile exploded in space and became a special symbol, floating quietly there. This is their signature belonging to the Nakul people. Seeing this scene, the Red Lotus Flame was shocked. Those guys actually surrendered. According to the rules in the universe, when one party signs their own special signature, it represents surrender, handing over the power of life and death to the other party. As for whether the other party will kill them, it depends on their willingness. In the Galactic Empire, Carlos also saw the signal emitted by the other party and made them surrender, which he really didn't expect. The army that can be defeated by Impreza is certainly not very strong, so it is not necessary to subdue it. Just thinking that the current Galactic Empire is still in ruins and still needs some low-level troops as coolies. Parker and the others surrendered, which happened to save Carlos a lot of prestige. This way, there is no need to specifically summon other ordinary or intermediate units. At this moment, Impreza all stopped and waited for Carlos's order. Let them come in. After Carlos gave the order, Impreza flew all the way to both sides, making way for Parker and the others. Seeing the other party make room, both Parker and Lottes couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. It's good if the other party accepts their surrender, so they won't die. At the same time, their hearts began to tense up. Because they will be going to meet the people who are currently ruling the Galactic Empire. What kind of existence is it with a feeling of fear and curiosity? The remaining spacecraft slowly flew towards the direction of the Galactic Empire. It seems that both sides will start to terminate the agreement next, which is a good opportunity. Sero turned to look at the Mirror Knight and said, "I'll leave it to you." The Mirror Knight nodded slightly and said, "I understand." Immediately, his body turned into a silver glow and disappeared. As an anime resident, the Mirror Knight can shuttle back and forth between the world in the mirror and the real world. At this moment, he has entered the mirror of those space warships. Observe the situation of the Galactic Empire at the closest distance. And the next scene was something he could never believe. After the spaceship lands, Parker and Lottes, along with the remaining Nakuls, Jettons, and Pedon, slowly walked out, and together they arrived at the ruins of the castle. Impreza and Darkness Lapicello stood on both sides. Immediately after, a black and red body slowly appeared in front of them. When they saw this figure for the first time, almost all of them immediately knelt down. "See your Majesty the Emperor." Parker and Lottes knelt on the ground, trembling all over. If they had known this one existed in the Galactic Empire, even if they had hundreds of courage, they would not have dared to launch an attack. After seeing this figure, the Mirror Knight in the mirror instinctively began to tremble, stemming from instinctive fear. After all, he was once enslaved by Belia, so he would be extremely sensitive to the aura emanating from this figure. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Beria Has a Son. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Beria Has a Son. That's Belia. No, it's not right, there's still a certain gap with Belia. When the Mirror Knight saw this figure, he was also startled. However, after being surprised, he also carefully observed the scene in front of him. The figure that appeared in front of him at this moment, although releasing the same breath as Belia, he could be certain that the guy across from him was definitely not Belia. What exactly is going on in this situation? His Majesty Beria did not expect that it was you who resurrected. If he knew it was you, even if he gave us a few hundred courage, he would not dare to launch an attack on this place. Parker's whole body was trembling, afraid that the figure in front of him would lift his palm and directly destroy it. I am not Beria, but Beria's son, Carlos, is the new emperor of the current Galactic Empire. After listening to Carlos, all the cosmologists couldn't help but tremble. Beria's son. That emperor, His Majesty, has left behind offspring. This is something they never thought of at all. After hearing this scene, the Mirror Knight was also startled. I thought that after eliminating Belia, there would be peace in the universe, but I didn't expect the other party to have a son. From what Carlos said, it can be heard that the other party seems to want to restore the already dilapidated Galactic Empire to its original prosperity. So it's His Majesty Carlos. If you don't mind, please accept us, and we will definitely become your best capable assistant. Parker spoke confidently. After knowing that Carlos was Beria's son, Parker had already seen a bright future. That is to support this new emperor to become the ruler of the universe. In this way, they can also benefit a lot from it. More importantly, with the power of Carlos, they can definitely completely suppress the Cosmic Alliance, and they can also achieve better development here. Carlos looked at Parker and others with a cold snort. What kind of strength do you have to provide effective support to me? You can't even defeat the robots under my command. Parker's head spun quickly and immediately replied. Your Majesty Carlos, I know you have the most powerful firepower, but to maintain an empire, having strong firepower alone is not enough, and basic military strength is also necessary. We may not be able to provide you with the most effective firepower support, but we can help you rebuild the infrastructure of the Galactic Empire. No matter how hard or tiring the life is, we are all willing. Carlos nodded in satisfaction, which was exactly the effect he wanted. These guys must be willing to do infrastructure construction. However, seeing these newcomers admiring him so much, Carlos understood in his heart that on the one hand, it was because he possessed powerful power, and on the other hand, it was because of his identity as Beria's son. Belia is an extremely charming presence in the hearts of these dark cosmologists. When he existed, there were already a large number of cosmonauts who had squeezed their heads to become his subordinates, and they were all loyal and never had any rebellious thoughts. Serving Belia was like a great honor to them. Now that Belia has died, serving Carlos is the same as serving Belia, and for him, it is still a supreme honor. Then let me see your performance. Carlos said coldly. Parker and others naturally understood the meaning behind his words, and everyone immediately began to take action, searching for some materials in the ruins of the Galactic Empire. While searching for materials, clear all the ruins and then carry out a new plan. Strive to establish the most basic infrastructure for the Galactic Empire in the shortest possible time. Of course, if we ask if there will be any cosmic beings engaging in embezzlement during the process of collecting materials. This is completely impossible, because both Impriza and Darkness Lapicello are supervising them, and if they dare to do such a thing, they will be wiped out. For safety reasons, it would be better for them to do things obediently. And since they have all joined the Galactic Empire, it means that they will inevitably benefit from it in the future, and there is no need to lose out on small things. Losing greater future benefits due to some small profits now is quite uneconomical. And with the addition of Parker and his team, the once desolate Galactic Empire was finally filled with some vitality. At this moment, Carlos also noticed that the reputation value on the system panel began to jump wildly again. It was obvious that there were other forces this time who were aware of the existence of the Galactic Empire. Carlos turned around and saw the mirror of the reflecting spaceship. After seeing the mirror, a silver figure flashed through Carlos's heart. If he had heard this news, then his reputation could have been understood. So Carlos looked at the mirror and smiled slightly before turning around. And that was just such a smile that the Mirror Knight was immediately stunned. He could clearly see that the other side had already discovered his presence, and the smile just now was just a warning. If the Mirror Knight is still here, then Carlos will have to launch an attack. Even if Carlos cannot truly attack the Mirror Knight after using the attack, it is already sufficient deterrence for the Mirror Knight. After all, in this universe, their mirror stars will still be attacked. If it involves one's hometown because of oneself, it would be quite bad. So the Mirror Knight decisively escaped from the mirror and returned to the front of Zero and others. What exactly is the situation like? After seeing the Mirror Knight return, everyone immediately asked. They were very concerned about what was happening in the Galactic Empire. This will also have a significant impact on the future situation in the universe. The Mirror Knight looked at Zero and the others and said, "The next thing may sound a bit crazy, but he did happen. It is true that an extremely terrifying existence has been revived in the Galactic Empire, and this existence is not Beria or the Empyreans, but Belia's son, Carlos. He is planning to rebuild the Galactic Empire." After hearing that Belia had a son, Zero and the others were no less surprised than Parker and the others. Mainly because Zero and Belia have been dealing with each other for so long. Even if he had a great imagination, he couldn't imagine that Beria, who had that personality, would have a son. This is simply unbelievable. End of this chapter.